haven't annoyed the for days, for months, for weeks. Yeah. You mind your business. You mind your business.
But,
and you, look at him, filming me constantly. I've got witnesses.
Okay.
Right? Filming me constantly.
Good afternoon, Director Hargun Talaka ADCP here. Today we'll become ASIO investigation, LRAD Absolute Zero with Megaray LRAD and HUAWEI Sonic Unit. Note Absolute Zero Aryan Brotherhood salute. Zero immigrants even if we have to kill them. Definition, the act of zeroing them out. Absolute Zero diagram, Liberal Party, Ku Klux Klan. They did this to a lot of people from about 2004 till about 2014. And they still do this today. They LRAD the victim, and they believe the voices are coming from the house across the road, from one of the neighbours' houses. They bounce, it's called bouncing the LRAD off the house, and you believe that they're inside the house or they're the occupants of the house, and it makes you attack the house. They got a lot of people out by doing this. They set up a lot of islanders with thousands of cases where they set people up. Quite often they would put somebody in front of them. When they LRAD, you start acting unusual, attacking where the voice is coming from. When they bounce the LRAD off the house, you believe the voices are coming from the house, and you're also hearing voices where they're harassing you, and even to go and attack them in some cases. Coordinating terrorism. They ring people up and they get them to do all sorts of things to notify them if people are acting unusual, that they have a suspect, criminal cases, criminal allegations, with thousands of cases. They would contact the neighbours, mental health outcomes. They say they're acting unusual, fixated persons laws. They even make laws, fixated mental health laws and fixated laws, by victims being LRAD'd and harassed and targeting the neighbours. Thousands of cases where they're targeting the neighbours, where they believe voices are coming from the neighbours and the neighbours are makes them believe the neighbours are doing something.
Welcome to a current affair. Your home is your castle, but your neighbours are a lottery. Judging from our emails, plenty of Australians lose that lottery. But Lester here is in a class of his own. This story made us want to give our neighbours a hug.
What do you want? Hey? What do you want? 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 Get away from me! What do you want?
Settle down.
Lester the neighbour. Nuttier than squirrel poop, Chris, I'm telling you.
Hey, what are you here for?
It's all right, calm down.
No, it's not all right.
It's all right, just calm down.
You put any of this on news, any
Okay, calm down.
I mean it.
Calm down.
Any of this I mean it.
Okay, calm
Right,
down.
I know who you are.
Okay, calm
I know
down.
who you are.
North Korea have Kim Jong-un. Ashmore has Lester Sutherland.
Craig Merriman has had enough. That's why he called us.
It's abuse, it's derogatory comments about my family, about me personally. This guy is out to get me out of my own home. He's actually said to me, I want you out of the street, I don't like you.
What do you want?
Well, mate, we just wanted to ask you some questions about your neighbour.
Well, I'll tell you about him.
He seems a bit upset. Can you tell us why he's upset with you?
He's an idiot. Look at him. Do you want to know why?
Well, tell us.
He's had his dogs on the veranda. Mate, that's 50 times. This ain't going on TV, mate.
I bought this place in 2013, and the very first day is when I met the neighbour from hell.
What did he say?
I've turned around, and here's this guy. His pants are falling down, blind, rotten drunk, and he says to me, if I have any trouble with you, I'm going to effing kill you. This was the introduction to my home first day.
He says that you annoy him all the time.
I haven't annoyed the for days, for months, for weeks.
Yeah.
You mind your business. You mind your business.
But,
and you, look at him, filming me constantly. I've got witnesses.
Okay.
Right? Filming me constantly.
All right.
He's a psychopathic Christian wig. Okay? He's a piece of
Obviously you don't like him. Craig says he started recording Lester to prove what he puts up with.
You gutless devil, snake ass.
Whatever he's going off his rocker, I'll record it. So from the balcony, from one of the rooms here, sometimes you'll even see that he'll see me filming him and he'll brazenly look at me while I'm filming him.
You gonna keep watching me, mate? Hey? Wait until I take ya.
Even from inside, Lester continues his ranting.
I'd move the walls, you.
Hurling all sorts of abuse at you, obscenities.
Oh, absolutely disgusting. Lester Sutherland is really an angry piece of work.
Look at him! Film him constantly! He gets a ladder out, he gets up my backyard. Look, he puts things up here. Go and film him.
Okay, so...
Right, if you put any of this on the news, right, I will come and I will bite your face off.
Buddy, okay, just
You
calm
too.
down.
And you.
One day, Craig says he woke up to see Lester had painted graffiti all over his own house.
How's this? You filming this shit? Yeah. I can do whatever I like in my house.
Who does that? If I've got an issue with you, am I going to graffiti my home to abuse you? But that's what he did. His way of abuse was to write obscenities on his own home directed at me to tick me off. This is his strategy. It's to bully and to intimidate. He's crazy.
See, look at this guy. Everybody, get your camera up here. Drop you. Don't you put this on news, right?
All right, mate.
I will
okay.
get you. You know what your news story's about?
No, wait, it's okay, buddy.
It's about you.
All right.
I will pull your wings off.
Okay.
I don't care who you work for.
Yeah, chill, mate. Okay.
Right? You know who you work for?
Okay, it's all right. In January, police recorded Lester threatening Craig and he was charged with common assault, committing public nuisance and obstructing police. He pleaded guilty and was put on probation. Lester was also fined in 2015 for possessing a dangerous drug. Craig says even though Lester's now painted over the graffiti, it hasn't stopped the abuse.
He gets the police around to work for him, doesn't he?
Okay, all right.
Right, do you work for the police too?
No.
He works for them.
I don't work for the police, buddy.
I will come and I will bite your face off. Put one scrap of this on the news.
All right, mate, just calm down.
Okay? You'll be filming one day and will happen.
All right, okay, buddy.
Okay?
That's enough.
Yes, Lester was certainly one of the factors that made me move on, sell the property, move on out of the street.
Craig Moore sold up 4 years ago.
He certainly changed the whole neighbourhood. People were perhaps afraid to wander out in the street. People across the road sold and moved on. Not a good man.
You know, I've got friends that have said, Craig, why don't you just move? Why do you put up with this rubbish? And I'm thinking, this is my home. Why should I move from my own home because of a neighbour that's stark raving mad?
Don't ask me questions. Stop filming me. Any of this goes on the news, next time I find you, I'm gonna bite your face off. And as for you, you fat lose the rape.
Other people in the street confirmed what Craig had to say, but were too afraid to go on camera.
This is a test of the long-range acoustic device LRAD.
One acoustic device is gaining ground daily by being law enforcement's go-to choice for crowd control scenarios and search and rescue missions. That device is LRAD. I'm Terry Shepard, and this is Digital Justice. Robert, first question. What does LRAD stand for?
Long-range acoustic device.
Robert Putnam with LRAD Corporation gives the lowdown on this piece of popular yet contentious technology.
With the long-range acoustic device systems, we're able to project voice messages and alarm tones up to distances over to 2 miles. It stays focused in a 30 to 60 degree beam And by allowing us to do that, the people at the other end absolutely understand the instructions that are being given them, and we can give them the instructions in any language. We have a highly intelligible, very robust product now that's being sold throughout the world to militaries, commercial security, maritime security, and then also for wildlife protection and control. And for law enforcement, they appreciate having a device that really works for communication. Bullhorns just don't cut it. In large outdoor situations especially.
So how did this technology come about?
The genesis of LRAD really begins with the attack on the USS Cole in October of 2000. Here was a USS destroyer in a Yemeni port. They didn't know if it were fishermen or terrorists that were pulling alongside them until it was too late. They turned out to be terrorists, detonated, killed...
And we know what happened.
Yeah, we killed many sailors, injured others, caused $1 billion of damage to the boat. And they had all this firepower on board, but they didn't know who these people were, so they couldn't take any action. Well, the whole point with LRAD is it fills a critical gap. How do we determine if they're friendlies or not if they're not responding to radio calls?
And when I got in front of the device, I could immediately hear its effectiveness.
This is a test of the long-range acoustic device LRAD. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right, guys, I have to say I'm a little worried walking up here like you're gonna sneak in and turn it back on. Scott, you were the operator on that one.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Right off the bat, first impression, I felt like there was a dude standing right here yelling in my ear, but it was really clear.
Here you have the back of the head unit where all the electronics are housed. You got the power switch you turn on. Power is activated by the control unit, which you have an on-off position.
Right.
This is a standard MP3 player, so you can put whatever test files or any kind of audio media on this MP3 player.
You will be given food, water, and medical attention.
Because it can broadcast effectively up to 2 miles away and very powerfully, you can mount it on helicopters, fly over and be able to broadcast messages to hopefully the people that you're trying to find. Cover a lot of area quickly rather than putting, in some cases, hundreds of people on the ground in the bushes trying to find people. And then for suicide situations from bridges or buildings, fire departments and high-rise situations.
It can also be used more in a bit of an offensive or a defensive manner. How does that work for that?
Well, I think you're referring to our alarm tone capability of this. So that's what's gotten most of the interest from people out there on the other side. We really don't look at this as any kind of a weapon, non-lethal or otherwise.
And though reluctant to speak on camera, law enforcement officials stand behind LRAD.
The alarm tone is mostly used, especially in law enforcement applications, especially when protests get out of control or you get large crowds. And with LRAD, that fills that critical gap between bullhorns and rubber bullets.
But many groups, including the ACLU, have issues with LRAD.
I think LRAD has no place at public events and forums, especially ones that any free speech expression activity is too intimidating, it's too scary, and so chills speech that we want to encourage in a democracy.
Are these machines causing any harmful side effects to the eardrums and the senses? Some would say it is possible that they are. So that would be considered torture.
My wife had one used on her in Oakland. It was like a kind of psychological torture. Like it's in your brain and you can't think, you can't move.
I'd rather be tased, shot with a rubber bullet, maced, and then kicked in the balls than have my eardrums erupted.
Like anything else, if it's too loud, like a fire siren or a police siren, you put your hands over your ears.
Right.
By doing that, it cuts 25 dB of sound pressure level instantly. You can still hear it, you can still understand it, but it's not going to hurt your hearing.
Right. It's just a different thing to have this, magical voice being beamed at you or even bringing you down. Traditional public order policing has its value.
Well, I think you have some people out there, especially during protest situations, who view this as, hey, this is not allowing us to protest or do what we want. We know of one case in regards to the Pittsburgh G20 summit where LRAD was deployed.
By order of the City of Pittsburgh Chief Police, I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly.
And I think that was the first time that a police department had used LRAD in a high-profile event. And what they were interested in is keeping the property damage down and the number of arrests down. That's the bottom line of LRAD. It's the ability to use long-range, powerful, highly intelligible communication to resolve uncertain situations peacefully, to determine intent, and potentially save lives on both sides of the long-range acoustic device.
Guys, that was actually a great demo.
Thank you.
And maybe could I borrow this for a party? Come on. There you have it. In the eyes of law enforcement, LRAD is an effective tool that's use will certainly continue to spread. But in the eyes of others, it's a potential weapon just waiting to be abused. No matter the opinion, it looks like LRAD is here to stay. I'm Terry Shepard, and this has been Digital Justice.
Unidentified small boat. You are approaching a naval warship operating in international waters. Request you establish communications, identify yourself, and state your intentions.
With security budgets and resources stretched to the limit, cost-effective wide-area perimeter security solutions are increasingly in demand. Unfortunately, today's perimeter security systems can only provide detection and surveillance capabilities through the integration of radar, motion sensors, cameras, and the like. LRAD Corporation's LRAD RX system delivers a vital capability that enhances security by enabling security personnel to interact with a potential threat.
Unidentified small boat. You are approaching a United States warship.
The LRAD RX's focused and powerful acoustic projection can be delivered to a potential threat at distances of up to 2 miles, providing security teams with the ability to warn, notify, and dissuade potential threats at distances well beyond a secured perimeter or exclusion zone. By turning passive surveillance systems and command and control centers into remote first responders, the RX provides a permanent perimeter presence, reduces false alarms, and protects field security personnel from potentially deadly situations. The LRAD RX utilizes advanced sound reproduction technologies and innovative audio materials to produce a focused, powerful sound pattern that can deliver clearly intelligible messages and warning sounds to distant targets. The LRAD RX deploys this technology in a rugged, fully integrated, remotely controlled platform that can be operated across a TCP IP network. The LRAD RX has a maximum continuous output of 153 decibels at 1 meter, with 100% plain voice intelligibility in any language up to distances of 750 meters. The LRAD RX system stands on its own mounting plate and uses 120 to 240 AC with a DC option for remote battery and solar-powered sites. A single Ethernet connection controls its positioning, voice broadcasts, deterrent tone, camera video, high-powered searchlight, IR camera, laser dazzler, and other options. A high-precision servo drive mechanism with built-in absolute encoders positions and aims the acoustic emitter, zoom camera, and high-intensity searchlight. Positioning and tracking can be accomplished by sending the LRAD RX absolute coordinates or with a manual jog commands using a joystick. When integrated with radar, the RX pan and tilt system can slew and cue quickly, moving up to 60 degrees per second, to provide automated intruder alerts. The LRAD RX system was developed specifically for use as part of the U.S. Navy's shipboard protection system. It was designed for installation and deployment on board naval ships and is the only remotely operated acoustic hailing device to be selected by the U.S. Navy after competitive testing. Fully weatherproof and designed to withstand harsh maritime conditions, the RX successfully passed a full round of military testing that included shipboard shock explosions.
3, 2, 1,
The U.S. Navy determined that the LRAD RX had the only integrated pan and tilt drive that worked reliably, and that the RX was the loudest, most intelligible acoustic hailing system commercially available. Since LRAD's adoption by the U.S. Navy, LRAD RX systems have been deployed all over the world on military and commercial vessels, airports, seaports, military bases, oil platforms, nuclear power plants, correctional facilities, dams, and other critical facilities. Beginning with an installation at the Hoover Dam, officials at dams and reservoirs are recognizing the RX as an important new safety capability to broadcast warnings to boaters and fishermen who approach the base of a dam or other areas off limits. A water company in a major U.S. metropolitan area is integrating the RX into its perimeter security program to protect its drinking water supply. Nuclear power plants and liquid natural gas processing facilities are deploying RX systems to protect their waterside approaches. The ports of Corpus Christi, Texas, and Raslaufen, Qatar, recently installed advanced security systems featuring the LRAD RX to broadcast hails and warnings to inbound ships not responding to radio calls. Oil and gas companies are utilizing LRAD RX systems off the coast of Australia and in the Arabian Gulf, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Bay of Bengal to warn fishermen and intruders away from oil platforms. LRAD RX systems are proving effective in keeping flocks of birds away from runways when aircraft are most vulnerable to potentially dangerous bird strikes. Since 2005, avian radar leader Detect Inc. has used and integrated over 250 LRAD acoustic hailing devices in the U.S., Canada, and Europe. According to Detect, LRAD has consistently exceeded their expectations in efficacy and reliability when compared to conventional devices and copycat products. LRAD Corporation, the global leader in acoustic hailing devices, has fielded thousands of LRAD systems in more than 35 countries around the world. Using highly intelligible long-range communication, long-range acoustic device systems determine intent, resolve uncertain situations peacefully, protect property, and save lives on both sides of the device. For more information on LRAD Corporation's long-range acoustic product line, please visit us at www.lradx.com.